All right, so we got to talk a little bit about Russia and Ukraine, guys. We got to talk about this. So I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but a few months back, Trump decided to basically twist Ukraine's arm into doing this incredibly biased deal with America. And the idea behind the deal is like, hey, you guys have to give us 50% of your shit from now until forever in return for continued U.S. arms flows so you can keep fighting Russia, and in return for our support, okay? And this was a big deal because the media was talking about it like, oh, it's deal making, smart Trump deal making. And if you go back and watch the segments we did at the time, I called it like basically new age colonialism. Like the terms we were forcing onto Ukraine were worse than like the fucking Treaty of Versailles, right? Like this is something that's too harsh even for terms you put on a country after they lose a war. Like that's how bad it is. Like taking 50% of all of their natural resources and their oil and their natural gas and their ports and shit like that. That is fucking crazy. But again, the deal was you give us this, and in return, you have our support. You can get our weapons. You have our support in your fight against Russia. Okay. Well, guess what? Now everybody's acting like that never happened. We never had that deal made. And now Trump is coming up with a new plan to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. But there's a bunch of problems. So let's start with this. Axios has this piece, Trump's full 28-point Ukraine-Russia peace plan. President Trump's 28-point plan for peace in Ukraine would force Kyiv to give up additional territory in the east, additional territory that Russia doesn't have now, cap the size of its military, and agree it will never join NATO, according to a draft obtained by Axios and verified by a Ukrainian official, a U.S. official and source familiar with the proposal. The U.S. side is pushing Ukraine to make a deal on an aggressive timeline, and despite the plan including proposals Ukraine has repeatedly rejected up to now, President Zelensky is not ruling it out. A senior White House official acknowledged the plan is not easy for Ukraine, but said the U.S. believes the war must end, and that if it doesn't, Ukraine is likely to lose even more territory. The plan was drafted by Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff, oh boy, with input from Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Jared Kushner. Now, let me just pause here to say, red flag, ski bro, red flag. Steve Witkoff has been profiting off of these global deals up to this point. They're directly involved with like business dealings where like they're making a tremendous amount of money in crypto, for example. Jared Kushner got $2 billion from the Saudi government in return for allegedly giving them classified information that led to MBS consolidating power. These people are insanely corrupt. You have a neocon hawk and two insanely corrupt freaks who are steering this process. Reddest of red flags I've ever seen, dog. Witkoff also consulted with Russian envoy Kirill Dmitriev on the plan. Dmitriev told Axios he's optimistic about it because, unlike past efforts, we feel the Russian position is really being heard. President Putin has not publicly endorsed the plan. After meeting with Dmitriev, Witkoff and Kushner also discussed the plan with Zelensky's national security advisor, Rustem Umerov. U.S. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll presented the plan to Zelensky on Thursday in writing. Afterwards, Zelensky said he was prepared to hold talks about it with Trump and his team. They go on to say something chilling, which is like, oh, we're going to solve this just like we got a ceasefire in Gaza. Okay, but that was fake. That wasn't real. 1,500 buildings in Gaza have been destroyed since the fake ceasefire. Hundreds of Palestinians have been killed since the fake ceasefire. Just yesterday, dozens of Palestinians were killed in airstrikes. It's not real. It's fake. So this, again, Democrats, don't let them get away with this bullshit. This is kayfabe. This is acting. This is not real. Okay, so what's in the deal? Well, what's in the deal is, like we said, 28-point peace plan. And right off the bat, Kyiv has to cede additional territory. Ukraine has to give up extra territory. To me, right off the bat, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. That goes above and beyond just to like freeze the lines where they are now. It's like, no, you actually have to retreat from other areas that are currently Ukraine and give that to Russia. Okay. Cap its military at 600,000 personnel. That also seems kind of crazy, especially when Russia just invaded Ukraine illegally and offensively, and now Ukraine has to cap its military. Why wouldn't Russia have to cap its military in that scenario? They're the aggressor. And amend its constitution to permanently ban NATO membership. The proposal offers security guarantees, framing attacks on Ukraine as if it's an attack on America. In fact, it goes beyond that. It's as if it's an attack on the entire transatlantic community. So it would trigger a collective military response. That's what the deal says. There are economic provisions in the deal that call for redirecting $100 billion in frozen Russian assets towards rebuilding Ukraine. It's lifting sanctions on Russia in a phased way. A joint U.S.-Russia venture in AI and mining and energy, plus Russia coming back to the G8. So it really integrates Russia back with the global economy when it comes to business and stuff like that. And again, this is why I say look out, because I guarantee you Witkoff and Kushner and Trump himself are probably going to financially profit off this. It mandates amnesty for wartime actions by all parties. So in other words, if all the Russian war criminals and Putin himself, they would totally get away scot-free. It requires Ukraine to hold elections within 100 days and enforces non-aggression pacts alongside cultural programs denouncing Nazi ideology. Okay. The plan recognizes Crimea, Luhansk, Donetsk, and parts of the Kherson region as Russian. I mean, that's basically the gist of what it is. Now, the story gets darker. So, in my opinion, there's already things in here that are just insane that I would never agree to, right? To give up more territory than even what Russia currently has is like, what? Like, that's okay. But ready for this? Look at this. So, Nick Schifrin says the following. He's with NewsHour. After talking to Secretary Rubio, Senator Rounds announces that the 28-point plan was a Russian document, not a U.S. document. Here's what one of the senators said. Secretary Rubio did make a phone call to us this afternoon. I think he made it very clear to us that we are the recipients of a proposal that was delivered to one of our representatives. It is not our recommendation. It is not our peace plan. It is a proposal that was received, and as an intermediary, we have made arrangements to share it, and we did not release it. It was leaked. It was not released by our members or our representatives. This is an opportunity to receive it, and that it has been utilized and delivered to the Ukrainians, and that they will have an opportunity to respond. And in doing so, you now have one side being presented and the opportunity for the other side to respond. So as Midas Touch says, so Trump was threatening Ukraine to sign a deal that was fully created by Russia. Caroline Leavitt kept touting this as a good plan. This is a bombshell scandal. So here is the order of events. Ready? Plan leaks. U.S. confirms the plan is real. Some senators condemn the plan. Senators say Rubio calls them, denies it's a real plan. Then the White House denies that denial and says it's a real plan. Then Rubio says, yes, it is a real starting plan. Straight from Russia, sent to Ukraine. You need to accept these terms. After Trump already made Ukraine sign away like half of their shit from now until forever. This is insane, bro. This is insane. And I guarantee you, even in a scenario where they try to force on Ukraine the terms of this deal, right? This shit is not going to last. There's no way the deal's going to last. It's going to be just like the Gaza deal. It's going to be a fake peace deal. Because people ultimately, they're not just looking for a peace agreement. You need some semblance of justice and sanity and rationality in the agreement. It can't be so immensely one-sided, and it can't be forced through so that people can personally profit off of it. No, it's going to fall apart. But that's the thing, guys, is like, literally they just want, I think Trump just wants the optics of it being settled. Because you all know, he goes around and says, I solved 8 wars. I ended 8 wars. Literally ended 0, none. In fact, he's starting new wars. But he said, I stopped 8 wars. And then, by the way, what's the one issue Trump is polling highest on? The Gaza ceasefire. Even though it's fake. Because the Democrats don't say, hey, this is fake. This is bullshit. You're lying. It's not real. This is all optics. It's theater. It's kabuki theater. It's fake. So he's polling highest there. He's doing the same thing here, trying to get a fake win. And the Democrats might let him fucking get away with it. So it just insane type stuff here, man. Insane. This is amateur hour, and it's very clear that they're personally profiting off this. It's very clear that there's aspects of this agreement which are just non-starters. And again, the craziest part to me, and I don't see anybody else talking about this, is you literally just signed a deal that said, we're going to get like half of your shit forever, and in return for that, we give you money and weapons and support you in perpetuity against Russia. And now you're rushing in to say, by the way, here's a 28-point Russian peace deal that you need to agree to all the terms to. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. It's just, the guy's got to go. The guy's a fucking danger, bro. Trump is just a danger to the country. With all of the immense corruption leading to insane things like this, all the optical victories, which are just agreeing to play pretend to the world. Like he is just unfit for the office. He needs to be impeached or he needs to be hit with the 25th Amendment. It has never been more clear. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.